Alrighty, we're in First Corinthians 10, and I titled this Forged in Fire. And we're going to discuss that word fire, fiery trial. Keep in mind, as we set this up today, our God is a consuming fire. I was just thinking of Jeremiah, and I'm giving you a few side notes to set this up today. Um, Jeremiah talked about in 5:14 that the words that God had him speak were like a fire and the people were wood. And by the end of the study today, you're going to understand about that consuming fire. But fire is a good thing. And it can be used for many good things: cooking, heating, refining, forged in fire. The hotter like steel gets, the softer it gets. And then it's pliable, and then it can be molded and shaped into what it was intended to be. Sound familiar? Our God is a consuming fire. But here, I was looking at the things that happened in 1 Corinthians 10:11. All these things happened unto them for examples, and are written for our admonition, unto whom the ends of the world are come. Wherefore let him that thinks he stands take heed lest he fall. There has no temptation taken you but such as common to man. But God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted above that you are able, but with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. Here's the thing. Character is not forged in just good times. You know, I think of a wedding. People, oh, everybody's in love and everything's great. Well, these people are loving and hugging one day, and days later they're in court screaming and hollering at each other. Character is forged in fire, in trials, in the trial of your faith. Your faith goes on trial every day. Think of life in itself. If you are in an occupation, what do? You have to go to school. You have to take tests. You have to pass those tests. And then once you're in that field, whatever it is, you have to prove yourself day in and day out. As a Christian, it's the same thing. There's no off days, folks. There's no, I know they show, I see some of this stuff and oh, we have an upcoming conference or something, and the people are dancing and screaming and hollering, and it's just like a party. It's like New Year's Eve, New Year's Rockin' Eve. Please, folks, that's not the reality of life. The reality of life is not a Super Bowl party every day. That's not the reality. And I think of Hebrews 5:8, where the Lord talks about we learn obedience through things which we suffer. I know them sufferings are not fun. All we want, the first thing we think about is getting rid of the sufferings. Oh, let's get rid of it. Get rid of it. God, if you just do this, it'll be over with. No, I want you to learn through this experience. His ways and thoughts are so much different. And if you read of the aforementioned 1 Corinthians 10, you'll see the experience. It was a wilderness experience that they were dealing with. And of all places for the Lord to send these people, in a desert. In a desert. They left Egypt. Where'd they go? They went to a desert, of all places. Talk about a trial. Um, and I think of First Peter. Right before that, James. James 1, verse 2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse trials or temptations. And a lot of times trials refers to testing or proving trustworthy, the trial of your faith. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, lacking nothing. So rather than scream and holler in the time of trial, stop, be still. Okay, Lord, what's going on? What are you showing me here? Now, we know the devil's going to try to get in there and throw a fiery dart and get you to doubt or play the blame game, blame yourself like you did. something wrong or somebody did you wrong. But, or pack your bags for a guilt trip. But the reality is, how are you going to handle it? How are you going to handle tough times? Because they're going to come. That's life. Surgeries are not fun. People that have had surgery, what do? You know, you think about it, they got to they cut you open, they cut you apart. But your plan was afterwards, it's going to make me better. Well, chastening is like that. Afterwards, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness. What are you going to do? Are you going to let patience have its perfect work? Are you going to cut and run? Are you going to, like a child, go sit in the corner and hold your breath and stomp your feet, suck your thumb, and throw a hissy fit? And if you continue in James, it talks about if you're lacking wisdom, let him ask of God, how do I get through this? Because if you're not chastened, you're not one of the Lord's. And even if you go, now we can go to Peter. Chapter 1. And you're having a, you're going through a period, and here in verse 6, wherein you greatly rejoice, so now for a season. So now you're going to rejoice in this time of trial. That's what builds character, folks. Forged in fire, the fiery trial. That's what builds your character. Not just the good times. Like I say, everybody has fun at a wedding. But your days, months, in some cases, days, months, years later, it's not so fun in divorce court, is it? When you hear people screaming and hollering and having to figure out how to divide a family apart. If need be, you're in heaviness through manifold trials, temptations, they use, that the trial of your faith, being more precious than of gold that perishes, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto the praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. Tried in fire. Has that ever happened before? Does the Bible talk about fire? Well, what did he say in John 15? I'm going to tell you here shortly. John 15, he says in verse 4, abide me and I in you, as a branch cannot bear fruit of it itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can you except you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He that abides in me and I in him, the same brings forth much fruit, for without me you can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. So, if you don't continue in the faith, rooted and grounded, and be not moved away, especially during a time of trial. And when it talks about purging, that's what he does with the vine. He purges it. He cuts off dead branches, dead things in your life. Our God is a consuming fire. It consumes dead stuff that's drawing life from you, but it's no good. Weeds. The Bible talks about the wheat and tare. Wheat is the real thing. The tares, they're bitter. They look like the wheat, but they're not it. Abide in me. Let patience have its perfect work, even in a time of trial and temptation. And don't get in such a hurry. Oh, well, God, we figure out so many solutions. Well, God, if you'd only do this, and God, if you'd only did that. David was anointed king. Well, if you look in the Old Testament, you see that Israel was surrounded one time by the Assyrians. They stood outside the walls and screamed and hollered, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And the king was shook, and they talked to Isaiah. In fact, he went to Isaiah twice. And what did Isaiah say? Don't worry, they're not going to enter the city. They won't even fire an arrow at you. And what happened? An angel overnight took out 185,000 of these people. The leader, Sennacherib, went back to his place, to his false god, and was worshiping in temple, and his sons took him out. It was all over. But it was a fire trial. How are you going to handle it? Well, they had to let patience have its perfect work. Hear the Lord's solution. His ways and thoughts are so much different. How are you going to handle? And at a time of chastening and trial, are you going to fall away? The Lord asked his people one time, he says, hey, where are you going to, you got a better place to go? You know of a different plan of salvation? Are you going to leave too? 1 Corinthians 3, verse 11 says, for other foundation can no man lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. If any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones. Well, let me give you a hint, folks, on a precious stone. 1 Peter 2, 4 through 8 talks about a precious stone. And you can look that up for yourself. And our Lord, and give you a hint, the Lord told Peter in Matthew, upon this rock I will build my church. Precious stone that was rejected of man. So, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble. Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it. It shall be revealed by fire. Fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. Well, not only at the day of judgment, but today, fire will try it. It'll be forged in fire. And we have a lot of flammable doctrines, wood, hay, stubble. There's a lot of highly flammable doctrines that just don't hold up through the fire, our Lord's consuming fire. But he'd like to consume these dead things so that you can build on this foundation. Things like gold and silver. What about gold and silver? Well, they're refined. How? In the fire, in the heat. We'll go through that here. If any man's work abide which is built, he shall receive a reward. If any man's work shall be burned, he shall suffer loss. But he himself shall be saved, yet so as by fire. That consuming fire is what's saving you, even though at times it hurts. You know, like the old song from the 70s, love hurts, love burns, love wounds. it's it's a stinger sometimes, folks, but that's what forges the character. Are you going to handle the tough times? Are you going to cut and run? Um, Isaiah 48, I believe. Verse 10, behold, I have refined thee, but not with silver. I have chosen thee in the furnace of affliction. For mine own sake, even for mine own sake will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my glory unto another. When you think about gold and silver and these metals being purified, the heat is turned up to a point where it gets so heated that the impurities and the slag, what do? They come to the top. What do they do next with that? They skim it off. When do they know it's refined? Because when they look down and they see what? Their reflection. And our Lord is very clear. I have refined you. I am a consuming fire. I'm working with you. Yes, it's nice to be blessed. Oh, it's so nice to see things just go so smoothly. You know, like back in the 70s, you had the TV show Happy Days, where the Fonz would just walk in and snap his finger and hit the jukebox and the music would play. Well, that's great. But folks, how are you going to handle the tough times? How are you going to handle it when things don't appear to go your way? Or when the Lord wants to refine and change things a little bit, do things a little differently in your life? Oh, but it's totally different. I don't understand it. Oh my, what's the devil? Well, that's where you have to learn to rightly divide. There's Our God is a consuming fire. Um, and we'll do a little here of chronological back in Psalm 6, and I can take you through just to prove and give you some scriptural backing as to what we're talking about. Um, Psalm Psalm 6. Okay, why don't I have this? I'm sorry, I'm saying Psalm 6. Where's my note here? Well, let's continue here. Psalm 11. The Lord is holy in his temple. 11:4. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids try or test the children of men. The Lord tries the righteous, but the wicked and him that loves violence, his soul hates. The trial of your faith, folks. Chapter 12, verse 6. The words of the Lord are pure words, as silver tried in the furnace. purified 7 times. And that's what he does with his people, folks. The trial of your faith works patience, but let patience have its perfect work. Oh, and it was Psalm 6:9. Oh, let the wickedness of the wicked come to an end, but establish the just, for the righteous God tries the hearts and reins. He proves, he examines, he will challenge you. I know you've done things this way. Let's try something different. Oh my God. But that's so different, Lord. Oh, was so was living in a wilderness, living by faith. And with many of them, God was not pleased. Psalm 26. And verse 1. Judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in mine integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord. Therefore I shall not slide. Examine me, O Lord. Prove me. Try my reins and my heart. What a challenge. And David, this is coming from David, King David, who wrote many of these Psalms. Psalm 66:10. For thou, O Lord, hast proved us. You have tried us as silver is tried. Huh. Silver has to be heated. You have brought us into the net. You have laid affliction upon our loins. Thou hast caused men to ride over our hearts. We went through fire and through water, but thou brought us out into a wealthy place, a place of saturation or running over. Fire and water, isn't that what they do? They heat up the metal and then they quick dip it in water. What does it do? It solidifies it. Once it's been softened and shapen to the point it needs to be, then it's cooled immediately and shaped solid into the new creation it was meant to be. So, folks, and I'll give you a side note here. Psalm 119:71. It is good for me that I have been afflicted, that I might learn thy statutes. So, folks, don't look at it in the negative all the time. Understand the Lord's doing this for your benefit. Malachi 3. Yeah. Where am I at here? Malachi 3, verse 2. But who may abide the day of his coming? Who shall stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire and a fuller's soap. A fuller's soap was made of lye back then. So basically, think of it this way, so it could cleanse the lye, L-I-E, out of your life. Fuller. And he shall sit as a refiner and a purifier of silver. He shall purify the sons of Levi, purge them as gold. We talked about purging the tree, in John 15. That they may offer unto the Lord an offering in righteousness. Forged in fire. Our God is a consuming fire. Time and time again, we see that. It's not a bad thing because that's what's going to save you is that fire. So let's close here in 2 Corinthians. I think we're going to close shortly here. 2 Corinthians 13. Examine yourselves, whether you be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Folks, life is a test. When you think about the plan of salvation, it's the perfect filtering process. You cannot hide from the Lord. He tries your heart. He tests the reins of your heart to prove you, to know that you're one of his. He's already had rebellion. I mean, not only in heaven, when a third of the angels fell, but even throughout his Bible, he's had enough rebellion. Many are called, few are chosen. Prove your own selves. Know you not your own selves how that Jesus Christ is in you, except you be reprobates. Reprobate is something that's unapproved. Not approved, rejected. Well, a lot of times metals that don't get refined completely are rejected. Coins that weren't made right in the Old Testament were rejected. Well, and like John said, they were cast into the fire and burned. But I trust in verse 6 that you are not reprobates. So, in closing, folks, and there's more verses, and as you read through the scriptures, you'll see things about fire refining yourselves. But the question today is, are you being forged in fire and allowing the Lord to patiently have his perfect work? Or are you a forgery, getting ready to be fired? God bless, and go take on your day.